Thank you so much for joining us here for an hour to give. This time every week we get together and speak about community, philanthropy, and volunteerism. And this week, well, it's pretty special. We've got some very special guests in that have all got a connection to CHEO. My very first guests today are Kate and Easton. Hello, you two.
Hi.
It's so great to have you here. And Mom Kate
Yes.
Baines,
Yes.
you brought your beautiful son, Easton Adams. Easton, how old are you?
6 years old.
6 years old. And you've been to CHEO a few times.
A lot of times.
A lot of times, yeah. And so I'm going to get Mom to sort of tell us a little bit of the story, but I'm going to be right back to you, okay?
Okay.
Okay, fantastic. Mom, you have this beautiful boy in October of 2019.
We did.
And tell me about him as a baby.
He was very beautiful. He still is.
He is.
But he was a very cute baby.
Yeah.
He was a good baby. 4 months after him being born, COVID hit. So my mat leave was a little bit different, as a lot of mums know. But he was always happy. He was a good kid.
Yeah.
And then when he was 3 years and 3 months old. It was just after Christmas, and he started complaining about his legs hurt. Once we thought, he jumps off things, he's a 3-year-old boy. Okay. And then, growing pains maybe. But he kind of kept complaining. And he had started creeping into our bed at night at that point. And it's lucky that he was sleeping with us, because I had noticed that what I thought was that he had a fever, and he kind of broke the fever and he was really sweaty. So I took him to the doctor, and I said, his legs hurt, I think he's had a fever overnight. And they were like, oh, it's probably just a virus, you can get nerve pain. Take Tylenol, come back in 5 days if it doesn't go away. So then he was just trying martial arts for the first time, and we were at his first lesson, and he started crying because he hurt so much when he tried to run, which was really unlike him. So we took him back in, and our doctor said, you know what, let's send him to CHEO for an x-ray in case he's really injured himself. And he's like, oh, and the virus, maybe we should do blood work while you're there. He's like, but I don't love doing blood work on a 3-year-old, like, what do you think? And something just told me to do it. So we went in, he did his x-ray, it was clear, we did his blood work, we left, we got lunch, we got home, and as we pulled into the driveway, we got the call from the nurse at our doctor's office saying, CHEO's just called, you need to come straight back in, he has low hemoglobin. So I was like, I'm not in the medical field at all. So I was like, oh, okay, maybe his iron is low. My mother-in-law is a nurse, so she was like, I'll come with you. I'm sure her red flag may have been going off. And we went back in, we went into Emerge, and the doctor came in and sat down and said, his blood work is showing markers for leukemia. And I was like, okay, so what do we need to do to rule that out? And she's like, oh no, that's what we're going to be treating him for. And I feel like it was just shock. Like I feel like I probably blacked out at that moment. I know my mother-in-law started crying, and I just was silent. I didn't really know how to process that information. Yeah.
Because you can't process that.
No.
I don't think any mom can process that. And I love, because I was actually going to ask you, did your mom instinct have a moment where you said, I think I want to take this further?
Yeah, I definitely knew it wasn't like him to be complaining about his legs hurting. That it seemed off. It didn't seem like an injury. And then when he said the blood work, I felt something being like, you just do it. I definitely didn't expect that. I have other friends I've now made in the oncology world who had Googled things or had kind of put 2 and 2 together and went in kind of maybe expecting that diagnosis. I did not. I was very much blindsided by it.
And when you hear Mom talk about those early days, Easton, you were just little, you were just 3 and a bit. Do you remember any of that? Do you remember any of that? No? Yeah, it's okay if you don't. Those are days that Mom remembers, right? And do you remember visiting CHEO?
Yeah.
I have to point out, before we go any farther, this beautiful cape that you're wearing. Can you tell me about your cape?
It's my team used to walk. I do a walk when all of my friends come, and we do a few laps of a walk.
Yeah. And is that to support CHEO? And you're pretty proud with your cape?
It's his captain cape.
It's your captain cape, and I think it's gorgeous. I think you look lovely. Yes. And does it make you stronger? Yeah, I thought so. It's not a funny feeling. And Mom, when you think about those early days, hearing this diagnosis, which is just unbelievable for any mom, I don't think the words child and cancer should even be in the same sentence. So to hear this diagnosis, what was the next step?
They admitted us immediately, so we went straight up to 4 North, which is the oncology ward, and then just started tests. I feel like we were just kind of thrown in. I'd called my husband and asked him to pack a bag and bring it, and said like he'd be staying overnight. I had a 4-month-old, so his little brother was 4 months at the time. So I had to go home with the baby, and only one parent can stay overnight anyway. So I believe, I don't even remember at that time, it was so, but I think my mother-in-law probably took the baby home, and then I remember staying till maybe 11 o'clock that night while they were doing all the tests, but they like hooked him up to IVs immediately, and I remember leaving and just being like what just happened? Like, we came in me thinking like, oh, we're just doing a blood test, and the next time I drive home, he's admitted.
I can't imagine.
Yeah.
And tell me, the care at CHEO. I mean, there's no two ways about it. We could fill hours of this show talking about how special it was. What was your story the next morning? You wake up, you've got this 4-month-old, your 3.5-year-old son is at CHEO. What happens next?
Well, I go back in, and unfortunately, it's a well-oiled machine there. Like, I hate for it to be that way, because that means that's how many children are being diagnosed. But they swarm in. You get given a team right away. So you get your oncologist, your social worker, your case manager. There's a lot of support given to you immediately. You get a folder explaining everything. The doctors come in, you have the pharmacists come in, so everybody comes and step by step takes you through everything. And also gives you, which I liked, gives you the paperwork as well, because you hear it, but you might not take it in at the time, so you got to go back and be like, what did we just do? But we were very supported from the moment we got there. Which was obviously very nice to not feel like we had to figure anything out. We were just kind of enveloped. Yeah.
And you had mentioned at the top of the time of our interview together that you had been to CHEO many times. Did you understand why you were there? Did you understand that maybe you weren't well, you were sick? Yeah. And what did Mom tell you and Dad tell you about that? You don't remember? Yeah.
Easton was very much a Spider-Man fan at the time. He still is, but very much. And we leaned into that.
Right.
So when he would see, say he had a blood transfusion and he'd see the blood coming in, he was like, I'm still Spider-Man, my blood's red.
Right. And
we were like, well, if you're Hulk, you're going to have green blood. So we really leaned into that kind of superhero and the things that he would understand at his age. That's sort of the way we went with everything. I do remember a kind of heartbreaking moment. He turned to my husband, his dad, and said, Dad, what did you used to watch on your iPad when you came to CHEO as a kid? Because at that time, he just assumed that this is what every kid did.
Right.
Which was
smart. Smart boy. And what happens next? So you're obviously getting treated at CHEO. We see this healthy, beautiful boy in front of us, just over 6 years old, in grade 1, and super smart, going to get his report card today. and how did we end up to be where we are today?
So thankfully, he was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia, B cell. So although nobody wants cancer, no one wants their child to have cancer, it's one of the has the best outcome, which we learned a few days in. I feel like I wish the doctor may have led with that, but we learned that a few days in, which helped with hearing other people's stories and knowing that, there was a very high chance that he was going to come out on the other side of this. It was 10 months of frontline treatment, so a lot of different chemos, a lot of different medications, steroids, that was really tough on his body. And we went through a lot of different stages of up and down, different mood swings and side effects. But after 10 months, then he moved into the maintenance phase. So that goes for a year and a half. He has daily chemo, would still go into CHEO monthly for lumbar punctures and chemo through his spinal fluid and steroid pulses. But at the end of that, which was in May of this year, he got to ring the bell. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Tell me about ringing the bell.
After I rang the bell, I went to Boston Pizza.
I love it. So you celebrated after ringing the bell. Do you remember ringing it and you're like, I'm going to ring this really hard to give hope to other kids? Amazing. Hearing you talk about the procedures, take me, we only have a couple of minutes, but take me to before this diagnosis and the way you speak about these terms. And I know there's a term, oncology mom, and you just speak these terms, and those were probably foreign terms to you before.
Completely foreign.
Right.
Like now I feel like I'm a blood doctor. Certainly not. But yeah, no, we had to learn very quickly. And I feel like a lot of that was the connection to those other mums. Very quickly did I find that we right away made an Instagram account for him because obviously my family's overseas. We have a lot of friends and family here, and it's hard to kind of give those updates to everybody every day. So we made an account so that we could share those updates, you know, in real time with anybody from our friends and family. And from that, I started getting messages from people from the community being like, hi, we're here too. Actually, Tammy, who I know is your next guest, was the first mum to message me. And, you know, they take you in and say, we can help you. And from those mums was a lot of the things we learned along the way, the tips and tricks and things of the way they got their kids through things. So that was incredibly helpful, and just understanding, like in layman's terms, all the medical things we had to understand.
And it speaks to community
100%.
and this club you don't want to belong to, that you get this membership to.
Yeah.
And the other members are there to greet you.
Yeah, we say worst club, best members. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think you might have brought me a little gift. Is that right, Easton? Do you have your gift to share with me? Yes. And is this for me to wear? I love this. I think this is incredible, and I'm going to put it on right now. Is that okay? Yeah, fantastic. And where did the idea of bracelets come from? To share your message? Yeah. And Mum, the story behind these wonderful bracelets.
We got them right at the beginning. We were raising money. So we shared them with all of our friends and family just to wear to support Easton, and then we sold them to other community members to raise money for CHEO.
Fantastic. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. And I'm going to make a donation in your name to CHEO, okay? Would that be okay? Okay, fantastic. And I'll tell everybody that I got to meet you today, and then I got to meet a real live superhero. Is that cool?
Easton wanted to tell you about his best friend at CHEO before we left.
Can you tell me?
I'm friends with Spider-Man and all of the other superheroes.
All of them?
Yeah.
And did they help you? Yeah.
What about your best friend at CHEO you want to talk about, Zed?
Zed.
Tell me about him.
He's the clown who helps kids like me.
And was it nice? Did you get a big smile on your face when you see him come through the door? Yeah, that's fantastic. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for sharing your story. Thanks, Mum, for being here.
No worries.
And thank you so much, Easton, for sharing your story. And I'm so glad to see you here today. Say hi to everyone in grade 1 for me, okay? Fantastic. Easton and Kate joining us today, talking about their journey with CHEO and their journey with childhood cancer. Stay with us on An Hour to Give.
This program is brought to you by Rogers Xfinity, connecting you to more of what you love. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
In Canada, the automotive sector is more than just an industry. It's a source of competitive advantage as well as Canadian pride. To help the industry adapt, grow, and diversify into new markets, the government is dedicating $3 billion from the Strategic Response Fund, along with $100 million from the Regional Tariff Response Initiative. We are also providing additional income support through the new work-sharing grant program, ensuring workers can stay connected to their jobs as companies adjust to changing market conditions.
The Electric Vehicle Affordability Program helps position Canada as a competitive leader in the global transition to electric mobility, attracting investment, creating good middle-class jobs, and keeping manufacturing right here at home.
Last week, when Prime Minister Carney announced Canada's new automotive strategy, he laid out a clear path for smart economic growth, one that gives industry the certainty they need to invest, to innovate, and grow here at home. This strategy is about attracting investment into Canada's clean automotive sector, supporting the workers who build our vehicles, and accelerating a shift to zero-emission vehicles in a way that's predictable and achievable.
This week on Canada Files, award-winning author Essie Adujan. She grew up in Calgary, the daughter of immigrants from Ghana, and she writes beautifully about migration, belonging, and home.
Welcome back to An Hour to Give. I'm Sam Laprade, and I'm so excited because we have a doctor making a house call right here on An Hour to Give, and that is Dr. Leslie Abbott. Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing today?
Good. And you've come from one of my favorite places in all of this city because there's such incredible work being done. You've come from CHEO, and you have a very important job there. There's big, giant words that I'm not really great at. I'm going to get you to share what your title is.
So I'm a physician at CHEO. I'm a doctor at CHEO. I'm a pediatric hematologist oncologist.
That's why I had you do that. Yes, fantastic. And so I think this is the coolest story ever about a doc because you are from Ottawa.
I am.
You got amazing training here at Ottawa. You born at the Riverside.
I was.
And then you made all your way back home to CHEO. Tell me about that.
So born and raised in Orleans. My family's originally from Newfoundland, but came up here to have their children. I have one big brother. And I knew from the time I was very young I wanted to be a doctor. And I always knew I wanted to help children. I didn't know it would turn into oncology, but I always knew I wanted to be with children. And then I was able to go to the University of Ottawa, and I did my medical school there, and then it was time to spread my wings. So I went out to Dalhousie in Halifax to do my pediatric training, and then I went to Sick Kids in Toronto to do my fellowship training. I spent a year in Kingston at Queen's doing research to try and advance my skills and advance the field. And then I got really fortunate to be able to come home. And I've been at CHEO 11 years now.
Wow, what a story.
Yeah.
And when I think, and the very first thing I said when I met you is I can't imagine the work that you do, because I can imagine the parts of your work that would be extremely rewarding. I would expect the job to have some sadness and some challenges. Why oncology?
That's a great question. Sometimes I still ask myself that to bring me back to my core of why I wanted to do it. I saw amazing people doing amazing things in my training in oncology, and I just really thought I would like to do that too. And I feel like I might be able to be half as good as them, so maybe I should try. And I think the science is really motivating to me as well. I come from a background of biochemistry, so I really enjoyed that. But the major thing was that relationship you get to have with patients, with the kids, with the teens, with the parents, and helping them, advocating for them, communicating, maybe giving them one drop of hope or help along the way. That just appealed to me.
And a day in the life of.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine what it would be like to sort of get up every morning and know that, you know, you were going to be impacting families that maybe did feel hopeless, but with the science and with the beautiful care at CHEO that they would be receiving that strong support.
Yeah, so a day in the life is pretty similar to most people's days. I get up, maybe hit the snooze too often. I have young children too, so getting them ready and out the door. Every day looks a little bit different, but today is an example. I get to do something amazing like this today. I also ran a clinic this morning. We also, with my colleagues, gave a special presentation this morning about childhood cancer. Some days I'm also on the inpatient unit. Some days I'm also performing procedures. Easton and his mother mentioned about lumbar puncture, so sometimes I'm performing those. And sometimes I get to do my research, which I really love. And they're long days, they're busy days, but I feel really lucky and privileged in what I do, that people let me, or I have to be led, I guess, into their life at maybe one of the hardest times, arguably the hardest. So I don't take that lightly, right? That's a true privilege and honor that someone would allow me to do that and to care for their most precious gift.
Thank you for sharing that. I want to just stop at the research piece for a second, because I've learned about a decade ago, and it's never left me, research today cures tomorrow. Research today is extending lives tomorrow. Talk to me a little bit about how important that piece is from a CHEO perspective.
Yeah, so I'm only good as the science that's available, right? I present to patients and families with my expertise what is the best in the world that I can provide to you. But I only know that because of research. And I only know that because a patient or a family, a child, a young person agreed to be a part of a clinical trial, agreed to be a part of research. I only know that because there's scientists out there, including at the CHEO Research Institute, who are doing amazing things to try and learn more, to learn why, and to learn if it does happen, how can we get rid of it with the least amount of side effects.
And when I think about research, because I'm a fundraiser at heart, I think about donors and how much of the research is only happening because donors believe in the talents of a Dr. Abbott and your colleagues. They believe that things can get better. What would you say to donors that have stepped up, particularly around childhood cancers, and said, no, things have to change?
Thank you. Thank you. Without that, we wouldn't be able to do this work. You're helping to give the opportunity for more positive conversations and to help a child. You really are helping a child and their parents.
And I don't profess to know anything that goes on at CHEO. I'm only a mom, and from that perspective, but having interviewed so many moms and dads over the years that have been at CHEO and had their work and had work been done on behalf of their child and that support, I see this incredible resilience that comes about a minute after the shock wears off. That there is this resilience, there's this hope, there's this community that's built, which was so beautifully spoken about. How much do you think that plays into supporting a child going through childhood cancer?
Huge, huge. So the community of parents, of patients, and the community at the hospital, the team at the hospital. We just heard about the amazing team and all the multidisciplinary work that happens. One of the first things that I usually say when I meet somebody new is that I'm one small person on this huge team of people who are going to look after your child and look after you. And we want a team approach, right? Like my approach is not, I'm telling you what to do. My approach is, to the best of my expertise, this is my recommendation. And we work as a team, right? I'm a member of your team for your child. So that community, I think, takes on such an integral role of lifting people up, of making them believe they're stronger than they think they are.
And I remember just even hearing for the very first time that a child was diagnosed with cancer. It seems such an odd sentence even to put those two words into the same sentence and see beautiful Easton and see all the children that would have come through the doors at CHEO with the same or similar diagnosis. How do you sort of, when you put your head on your pillow at night, sort of think to yourself, like, I know we can get there in terms of research. I know we can make further ground.
Yeah. Well, some nights are hard to sleep for sure, for sure. It's a heavy weight as a caregiver, and I mean, I share that with my colleagues, with my teammates, for sure. But there is a better way, right? And the only reason that I can give information, any kind of information, is because of the research that's been done, right? Is putting that positive foot forward for the next person. So when I see a patient or family agreeing to be a part of research, generously letting us study something or offering some extra biopsy tissue, whatever it is, that actually provides some fuel for me to keep going.
And being a mom, has that changed
Oh, yes.
your practice?
Yeah, in a lot of ways. That's hard to explain, but in a lot of ways, I think I do, to be very vulnerable, sometimes struggle with these thoughts of, why someone else's kids, why not my kids, and grappling with that in my brain. And who knows what the future holds, right? I don't. It certainly gives me a different understanding. Listening to people, I don't only see it from a medical point of view, but sometimes I feel it from a parent point of view too, right? And it definitely changes your perspective, for sure, and makes me feel very grateful for what I have when I go home at night.
And truly, I mean, you know how excited I was to meet you today.
Yeah.
I'm
not used to that.
I know. I was like, I was so excited. I truly believe there is something special, and I know we use that word a lot, and I don't know if I can't find a bigger word, but I think there's something special about people that dedicate their lives to this work, get up every single day, and try to make sure that another family's journey is just that much easier.
Yeah, thank you. I don't want to take sole credit for that, in that the team I work with really, and I say this all the time, I feel so fortunate that my physician colleagues, nurse practitioners, pharmacists, nurses, dietitians, social worker, our nurse navigators or case managers, our interlink nurses, and our psychologists, and I know I'm forgetting people right now, but just such highly devoted, caring people with a really high level of expertise that I watch them on a daily basis translate that into care. And that is a second to none skill set. It really is.
Well, to be honest with you, even hearing Mom Kate, who we chatted with a few minutes ago, sort of rhyme off this menu of the different procedures and process that young Easton had to go through, even trying to share that with someone that had no medical training, like that she would have not have any medical training, and then all these words are being thrown at her. I know it's the team takes really cautious care to make sure parents understand, and I love the fact a minute ago that you said we take care of the child, but we take care of the whole family, because it is truly a family disease.
Yeah, I mean, there are huge efforts to do that. I think none of us claim to be perfect, but we certainly try our best, right? What I see in my teammates is often trying to put themselves in those shoes, recognizing we don't fully understand the journey, even from where we stand and how much we see, but a lens of care of how I might want to be treated is invaluable, and that's what I see in the professionals I get to work with.
Beautifully said. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Dr. Leslie Abbott joining us today and sharing her perspective on the work that she does every single day at CHEO. When we come back, you're going to meet a family that I had the pleasure of meeting last fall, and I've never forgotten them. Stay with us.
The cities of Ottawa and Gatineau have launched the Defence Innovation Task Force with the goal of driving investment, economic growth, and creating defence capabilities in the National Capital Region and across the country. On Friday, Ottawa Mayor Mark Sutcliffe was joined by his co-chair, Gatineau Mayor Maude Marquis-Bisonnette, and Honorary Chair, retired Chief of Defence Staff, General Rick Hillier.
And the task force is going to bring together 33 leaders, people who are experts in the industry, defense decision makers, investors, innovators, industry executives, veterans, diplomats, economic development partners, and policy experts from both sides of the river.
When we're able to have investment and business coming in the region, it means that we're offering better opportunities for our citizens.
After a night out with your friends, there's always options for getting home safely. You could call your BFF, your mom or dad, whoever you can count on for a safe ride home. You could call your favorite cab company or 1-888 taxi guy. Or you could use the Arrive Alive smartphone app to help you choose your ride. Be it a friend, transit, or taxi, getting home safely is app easy. Now available for iOS and Android devices. Visit arrivealive.org to find out more. Arrive Alive, drive sober.
Well, I remember hearing the very first time about a young boy by the name of Griffin Bell, and I followed his journey, and in the fall I got to meet his beautiful parents and his beautiful sister. They're joining us today on An Hour to Give to talk about how important CHEO was in their journey, and of course to talk about their son Griffin. Hello Tammy, how are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Good, and Evan, thank you so much for joining me today. Of course. Tammy, when I met you, I can't explain it. There was an instant connection to you. I had followed, of course, Griffin's story, and your family was recognized by the Association of Fundraising Professionals at a big gala, and recognizing the incredible work that was done, not only by you, but by your son Griffin, and that's where I first got a chance to meet you. But Griffin's story, captured my heart long before I got a chance to meet you. So we know your beautiful son Griffin was diagnosed at 16 months of age, which is even hard for me to say back to you, because I'm sure it's hard to hear. Yeah. With cancer. Take me to that day.
Well, there's a backstory on that. So Griff was born 11 weeks premature, which landed him in the neonatal intensive care unit for 8 weeks. With that came a series of follow-up appointments with CHEO. So we were already very, aware of what happened in CHEO, and we were seeing many departments there. In fact, I actually made a comment to somebody saying, well, we haven't seen the oncology unit yet. Right? And so one of the things that he had was some calcium in his kidneys. So every 3 months we went for an ultrasound. I remember this day like it was yesterday. I dropped off our daughter at school. I was walking home with him, admiring the beautiful leaves on the trees. We were kind of just both getting over a cold, and I didn't really feel like going, but at that point it was the 11th hour. And so, we had to go. And now looking back, I think, I can't imagine if we didn't actually. So Evan's at work. He's due to go off to Las Vegas the next day for some work trips, and we go in for an ultrasound. And he's 16 months old, so I'm entertaining him with toys and so on and so forth. And the technician leaves the room and comes back in and continues doing what she's doing. And then she leaves the room as they usually do. And they wait for the radiologist to read it and say, yes, you have good images. And then 3 women walked in the room. And I'm looking at them, and I'm looking at Griff, who's climbing on the stroller now, and she says to me, we have reason to believe your child has neuroblastoma. And I said, okay, what's that? I don't know. And she said to me, well, it's a form of childhood cancer. And then, the next thing I know, a box of tissues is being thrown in my face, and I haven't even processed, the reason to believe sentence yet, and I'm in shock, and your breath gets taken away, and I'm there by myself, and it's the wheels, they start turning, and then right from there, it was, we're going to take you into the emergency department. He needs to have all these tests and scans. This is the quickest way to get them done. Do you want to call your husband? And so, of course, I'm not going to call him at work and say, Griff was just diagnosed with cancer. You need to come to the hospital. So I call and I say, can you come? They want you to come. And he's not far, so, gets in the car and he calls me about halfway down the highway and he said, why do I need to come? And at this point, I was actually on my knees in the middle of the emergency department, just hanging on to the stroller. Not really sure what to do, and I said to him, they think he has cancer. And, then I felt a hand on my shoulder, and it was the nurse, and she said, you can't sit here, Mom. And they took me into a room, and I looked at him and thought, they've got this wrong. Mm-hmm. And then, 10 minutes later, he arrived, and it was just sort of a blur after that.
How long was that drive?
Well, it got pretty quick after she called, because the foot went down the accelerator pretty quickly.
I think it was that was the second time he actually received that call, because I was on bed rest with Griff for 5 weeks before he was born at the hospital. And we had Abby, and so he was back and forth, and I went into labor and I needed an emergency C-section. And he just so happened to be on the way, but it was a, hey, I'm going in now. Are you coming? And he was, so it was the second time that unfortunately he's received that call.
And Dad, how do you process that? How does that, your wife's been told the news, you've walked into this, where does your mind go?
I think it starts with disbelief. There's a mistake. Certainly at that time, and really through the better part of the journey, you wouldn't know by looking at him. I walked into the emergency room, I guess the room that we were in, and he lit up because I walked in, and he has no idea, right? So. But again, the shock thing, you go into shock, and it just doesn't make sense, and there's a mistake. Let's just get through these next 24 hours until whichever steps are next, those boxes are checked so they can tell us, I'm sorry, we've made a mistake, and we can just carry on, and that's that.
And Tammy, it wasn't a mistake, and so what happens? Like, obviously I've interviewed lots of mums that have been through lots, and I wonder who's the next call to. So you've got your husband there. Who do you call next?
Well, Abby was at school, and so we needed someone to go and get her. So I truly don't even remember who the next call was, but I think it was to Evan's parents, because they're here in the city. Actually, they came to the hospital just to bring us some things and books and toys, because again, we thought we were going to be there for an hour-long appointment. So it went out to them, and then honestly, I don't even remember the phone call to my mom or my parents. I don't remember. I don't remember the words I said, and unfortunately, I had to make that phone call many times afterwards.
And we've heard before from other moms and other dads that the CHEO team is, and the words was used by Kate, your friend, a well-oiled machine. You wish it wasn't, because it would mean that not all these families have gone through this, but there is this well-oiled machine that gets a team in place. Was that support immediately felt? Did you feel that CHEO almost gave you this big giant hug, we've got you?
Yeah. So we had actually an oncologist who was filling in on a mat leave. She came from Sick Kids, and she was the one that ended up giving us the final diagnosis, the confirmed diagnosis. Coincidentally, that was the same day that Griff took his first steps in Fort North. And like you asked Dr. Abbott, how do you do this? Evan actually asked her the same thing, how do you do this? And she said to us, honestly, there's so much success in childhood cancer that I get to see the good things that are happening. And from that moment, I don't know if it happened for him, but we were just given hope that, we were going to be taken care of. And then it was a whirlwind of, we still needed these imaging scans, we still needed, the biopsy, we still needed so many things. and you just get swooped right up in everybody, because every single person is just as compassionate as the next, and they're really there to support you. Yeah.
And we know, Evan, that this process was very difficult on Griff, very difficult on your family. He just, and from what I saw very early on when your story was shared, is just this little fighter that had so many people surrounding him. Were you surprised at how many people sort of galvanized to him?
Yeah, I mean, looking back on it, yes. At that time, I think we and you would do the same for a loved one or for a friend, and so looking back, how everybody just swooped in right away is pretty humbling. One of the things that when I look back on it, certainly in the early stages, but even not to fast forward, but up until 6 months prior to his passing, was that his health was. He didn't go in sick. He went in for a regular checkup, very physically well. And he kind of carried that through the whole way. But in terms of the community or family and friends, I mean, again, I guess humbling would be the first word that comes to mind. And as the process went on, and Tammy really took the bull by the horns there. Just the city, our community as a whole, really wrapped their arms around him and us as a result.
And I'm going to talk about it right now because I have my own golden sweatshirt at home, which I wear very proudly. You're both referencing golden. Tell us why.
So when Griff was sick, nap time was still very much a big part of his life, and I could either sit there for those 3 hours a day and overplay everything that has happened in my mind, or I could keep myself busy. And we met this family. I think we were about a month into diagnosis, and they had a little girl who was born 2 days after Griff, fighting the exact same disease. They were in remission while we were still going through it, and we just sort of connected because these two kids were the same age. And then she passed away. And it really hit me that this could be a part of our life, because like Evan said, he didn't present that he was sick ever. And I thought, there's got to be something more that I can do. I couldn't save Arden. I can't save Griff. We have to rely on the medicine and the research and the technology and all of that. So what if I started doing something where we could raise some money?
I'm going to stop you right there, because we're going to come right back, because I want to hear the end of that story.
Okay.
We're going to come back with the beautiful Bell family talking about their incredible son, Griff. Stay with us on An Hour to Give.
Mayor Mark Sutcliffe is signing on the dotted line to do his part in bringing a more kinder and gentler Ottawa.
The ultimate goal is to have a city where everyone feels safe, where everyone feels they belong, and where we have minimized or eliminated acts of racism and violence and hatred, where we don't see racist graffiti being sprayed on a mosque or another religious institution, where we don't see hate-based violence occurring in our city. And I know that's an ambitious goal, but we must do everything we can to achieve it. We must take steps to get closer and closer to that goal.
Leaders of all three faiths were part of the panel discussion to talk about some of the main issues within local communities and concentrate on some positive actions moving forward.
Very grateful for the initiative. Indeed, it is so much needed. One of the things that I was trying to speak about is that the way in which we understand kindness is not only like a one-off. I talk about systemic kindness, which means that it has to be woven into our policies, our relationships, and so forth.
For more on the symposium, watch on the next edition of Podium. For Rogers TV Community News, I'm Mike James.
We're featuring CHEO on An Hour to Give this week, talking about childhood cancers, and we're joined again by the Bell family. They've brought their beautiful daughter Abby with them. Tammy and Evan joins us now. And before we went to break, we were talking about the inspiration behind Golden, and that you, in those moments where maybe Griff was napping and those moments where you were feeling maybe a bit helpless, you wanted to create some hope by raising some money.
Yeah, you know, when your child is diagnosed with cancer, it's an extremely helpless feeling. Again, you can't do anything to save them. The only thing that, you know, we could do was maybe try and help another family. And so I just one night in bed had this idea of Golden. You know, we always wore shirts to Griff's treatment because it was like supporting our favorite hockey team, you know, like he was our team. And we didn't love wearing the yellow ribbon because we didn't ever want anybody to look at us and feel bad, you know, have that look of the ribbon and the connection, and you just see that look on their face. So I thought, well, Golden, it's the, you know, children are golds, the color of the ribbon, you know, and it was just, never really had a vision of where it was going to go, but it just took off, and it has raised, I actually, you know what, I think I just tallied it up the other day, and last year alone, the sale of sweatshirts raised like $12,000 for cancer research, which is unbelievable.
It is.
Unbelievable.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And I think with every dollar also comes some hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just the fact that other people want to help, you know, because again, they don't know what to do. And so if, you know, buying a sweater can give another family a little bit of hope, or, you know, support research or bigger things than them, then that's what they do, and it's a really nice feeling. Yeah.
And Abby's here today, and Abby, you're wearing Griff's Gang, and this shirt was for something special as well. Tell me about it.
Well, I like to wear it because it like supports my brother and supports my mom's business, and like, yeah.
And it makes you feel connected to your brother. Yeah. You're a great big sister, by the way. Yeah, which is wonderful. I know you were, when we saw each other at the big gala, you looked beautiful, and you were there with Mom and Dad, and the legacy of Griffin is incredible. And keeping that legacy alive, not only for your family, Evan, but for families that, you know, were maybe going through this and really understanding how important his life was, and losing him in March of 2024. I can't even imagine what that has been for your family, keeping his legacy alive. Talk to me about how important that is.
You want to take this?
Selfishly, it allows me to continue to talk about him. You know, and we very much lived our diagnosis as if each day was a gift. And if he felt good, we did something great. And if he didn't, then we rested. We always said we're never going to let the cancer get us down, because it never got him down. And so that's how we lived. And so we like showcasing that, you know, that initial cancer diagnosis is entirely devastating. And, you know, what to come is unknown, but if you don't let it get you down and you continue to live just maybe in this new adapted life, you know, you can still experience all the joys and everything that life does have to give, just in a little bit of a different capacity. And so, you know, we'll always keep him alive by doing that and with him, because it shows all of the things he got to do while he was going through the worst time of his life. And it's quite amazing what he accomplished.
And I love when people refer to grief as love continuing. That deep love of somebody, you don't want to ever forget them. You don't want the world to forget them. So I understand that, and I don't think it's selfish at all, by the way. You can phone me up any time of day and tell me something about Griff. I would be happy to listen. Tell me about Griffin. What do you remember about your brother?
I remember a lot of things. Well, I remember, what do I remember of exactly, like, his personality and stuff?
Yeah, for sure.
Well, he was very funny.
Yeah.
He was, like, he liked to do like a lot of things that he like wasn't really supposed to. He did a lot of things that like he was scared to do. Like he was like
brave.
Brave, yeah,
brave.
really brave.
Yeah. Yeah. And hearing Abby talk about Griffin being brave, Dad, how does that resonate with you today?
I mean, she hit the nail on the head. There's no question. But, you know, not to take anything away from him, I mean, the bravery runs in the family, you know, and that starts with Mom to Abby, through to Griff. Yeah, you know, through all this, we've been very lucky with what we've been given.
Mm-hmm. Beautifully said. Beautifully said. And Mom, I think about this legacy, and not only the dollars, which is great, by the way, but just the spark that has started this community movement around not only Griff, but other families that maybe don't feel like they want to be as public. I know there's gifts that come with that in terms of that support. Where are some of those gifts today in terms of maybe a day where you're feeling blue or you don't want to get out of bed, but you know someone's waiting to get their golden sweatshirt or another mom wants to talk to you?
So just the other day, actually, I was sitting at the kitchen table on my computer and I saw another oncology mom pulled up and I realized, oh my gosh, her sweater's in the basement. And so I ran down and got it. And as soon as I came out, it was a big hug, you know, and I've seen her maybe 3 times in my life. We talk often online. But like Kate mentioned, I was the first person to message Kate because we shared a wall on 4 North. And I ran into her in the kitchen. And I could tell by the way that she carried herself, she was very early in the diagnosis. Our particular stay that time was difficult. There was a lot of stuff going on in our room, and I wanted to make sure that she knew that that was not what cancer was, which she witnessed. You know, and since then we connected, and then it's just been a connection of all these other people in the community. There's always somebody there, you know, that I can talk to, and I've formed connections with moms who are bereaved all over the country. You know, and a lot of times we just write each other and say, having a really bad day, and then it goes on, and it's never, you're never being judged, and it's just this really nice feeling to have, because as much as our friends and family, you know, are incredible, there's just something that they'll never quite understand until you live through those days in the capacity that we did. I mean, they obviously did on the outside, but it's like the community is just unbelievable. Unbelievable.
And we know CHEO's obviously raising money, inspiring donors, and we talked about research with Dr. Abbott, and we talked about, you know, all those important dollars, CN Cycle, and all of those great events. Have you participated in those events to honor your brother? Yeah, how was that? You enjoyed that? Yeah, those are opportunities for you to be able to share with your friends too that that your brother is always going to be remembered. And did you participate in some of these events, Dad?
Oh, God,
I know you were there.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
And what's it like to be surrounded by people on CN Cycle Day, for instance?
I mean, I guess that's our Super Bowl, right? And that's there's a lot of hard work by a lot of people, starting with Tammy, and certainly led by Tammy. But yeah, it's a special day for our city, it's a special day for our community, and it's a special day for us, right? It's a day, it's months of lead up of, you know, fundraising and getting people excited, and, you know, the event is a celebration of that. We've had days where it's been rainy and cold. We've had days where it's been 23 degrees and sunny, and it turns into a bit of a you know, an exciting weekend certainly for our family, and I think for our community as a whole.
And on those days, Tammy, it sounds very much like you're a cheerleader for many people, and that you have been a rock, and I know moms are sort of meant to be rocks Do you feel sometimes that Griffin's cheering you on in terms of the work that you're doing?
Oh, well, I mean, it's the only reason I'm doing what I'm doing, you know. So, in fact, this morning I looked out the window, and I don't know if you believe in signs or whatever, but I was standing in the kitchen, and I happened to look up, and across the street there was this beautiful bright cardinal just sitting in the bushes. I called Abby over, and I haven't seen one all winter, and it was just one of those moments where I thought, of course you're here today, you know, and then it flew away. But it was just one of those things where it kind of it makes you smile, you know, and whether it is a thing or it's not, I mean, I believe that it is, and so, I mean, I wouldn't be doing any of this if I didn't think that he would shake his head at me if I didn't.
Yeah. We only have a minute, and I'm just going to ask you to thank our friends at CHEO. What words do you want to share?
I mean, CHEO's compartmentalized of so many different, you know, we have Roger Nielsen, who we are incredibly grateful for, the Research Institute, the foundation, all the doctors. I mean, we were supported by the whole system, you know, so the hospital is one thing, but it's much bigger than that too. And, you know, we wouldn't have been able to do what we did if it wasn't for all of them. So
beautifully
we're
said.
very grateful.
Thank you for sharing a little bit of Griff with me today, and for sharing with us on An Hour to Give. I know you've inspired people, whether it's CN Cycle or whether it's to give to childhood cancers through CHEO or to research. He will not be forgotten.
No.
Yeah, we'll make sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. The beautiful Bell family joining me today. Beautiful Griff. And if you have not heard the story until today, look up Griffin Bell and you will definitely be inspired. Thank you to CHEO for allowing us to share these stories today. I'm Sam Laprade.
Connect with us by visiting our website or email us at comments@rogerstv.com.
Black History Month kicked off in a big way at the Conference and Events Center in Ottawa. Rogers TV's Sarah Onyango was on hand to host the event, and Ottawa Mayor Mark Sutcliffe gave a proclamation on behalf of the city.
This milestone is a really important one. It represents decades of leadership, decades of education, decades of community building, led by some of the most dedicated volunteers and partners, many of whom are here today.
Black History Month has been celebrated across Canada since 1995, when the Honourable Dr. Jean Augustine introduced a motion into the House of Commons to make the event celebrated every year during the month of February. Awards were also handed out to community builders for their contributions to making a better Ottawa. OC Transpo unveiled a mural entitled Pride of Dreams. It was designed by local artist Jimmy Baptiste and will be displayed on selected buses across the city. And Canada Post released a new stamp that pays tribute to Canada's hip-hop trailblazers.
Le moment qu'on a su qu'on allait être sur un thème, I was like, yo!
Well, I thought it was a joke at first. And when I say joke, I say it wholeheartedly. Like, Canada Post is really putting artists like myself in this genre that we were trying to prove as a genre on a stamp.
The month honors the legacy and contributions of Black people in Canada.